What's up everybody, this is Master Ian Gamer. Now that we're several days into Overwatch 2 Season 13, I think it's about time I finally do my state of video, breaking down my own thoughts on the new season, how it's been playing, how I've been enjoying it, and just where the game is in its current state. From new skins, map reworks, new game mode, and some rather interesting balance changes, there's a lot to go over, so let's first and foremost start with one of my favorite topics typically, the skins and other cosmetic items. This season's selection of skins, in a way, kind of surprised me. At first, I wasn't expecting to really like most of the cosmetics for this season, given that we knew it was going to be a Halloween witch type theme, and personally, that's just not an aesthetic that ever really has spoken to me. So I was expecting to be more or less unimpressed with most of the skins, but I was pleasantly surprised, I would say, overall, especially when it came to the skins in the Battle Pass. Historically, Battle Pass skins have always been, well, worse than the shop skins, you could say. Because, of course, you're going to be getting a lot of the Battle Pass skins for a lot cheaper than if you were to buy them all individually in the shop. Sure, you have to play the game to grind the Battle Pass and also buy the Battle Pass in the first place, but overall, the general sentiment and the way most people look at it is the Battle Pass are the cheap skins they can get for a low price, while the shop skins are the more premium ones, and we often see this reflected in how Blizzard actually adds skins to the respective Battle Pass and shop. Low effort skins in the Battle Pass, high effort skins in the shop. But this time around, I think I actually prefer most of the Battle Pass skins over the ones that we're going to be seeing coming out in the shop this season. I mean, I wouldn't say any of these are absolutely stellar in terms of quality, but I'm actually quite the big fan of quite a few of them. The Ana skin in particular feels so cool. It fits the character, it's a unique aesthetic we haven't really seen for her in any of her other cosmetics, and there's such a great level of detail to all the different aspects of it that, dang, I'm kind of surprised this is only in the Battle Pass. Even looking at the other skins for Torbjorn, Sigma, Sojourn, these are all great. Again, nothing super amazing in any regard, but in terms of a Battle Pass skin, these are solid choices to get. And when you compare it to this season's selection of shop skins, I don't know. Maybe I'll change my thoughts on some of these once we actually see them in game. For example, the cat skins specifically, like the one for Mercy, aren't actually in the game yet, so we can't look at them in the hero gallery. But save for the Kiriko skin, which admittedly has kind of grown on me the more I've been using it in game, I kind of feel like the Battle Pass won out over the shop in terms of skin quality this season. A pleasant surprise to say the least, especially if you're someone who's not going to spend a ton of money on the game. But at the end of the day, it all does come down to subjective taste. I'm sure there's going to be quite a few people eager to get their hands on that Mercy skin, which will of course be in the shop. But by and large, I gotta say I'm impressed with the Battle Pass this season, at least in terms of the quality of the skins included in it. But you know what's not included in the Battle Pass this season, at least not technically? The Mythic Skin, yes, Spellbinder Widowmaker. Man, oh man, oh man, does this skin feel like a missed opportunity. I've already talked about it in my streams and other videos covering this season, but this to me is the epitome of a weak Mythic skin, which is really sad to say because I actually quite like this skin. If this were merely a legendary, just pick any one of the combinations of customization and set it as just a singular legendary skin, I think it would be great. And then when you factor in elements like the unique weapon sounds, which I think they actually did a phenomenal job of with this one, it could have been a really cool skin. But that doesn't mean that it's a good Mythic skin. Sadly, it seems like Blizzard has returned to that level up type progression customization for Mythics that they first experimented with Tracer back in Season 5, where the different customization options of the skin feel less like variants of a general aesthetic for the skin, and more so like you're leveling up the skin so that if you don't actually get the highest tier, you're not actually getting the full detail of the Mythic. Unlike, say, Sigma's Mythic skin, where any combination of armor, weapons, and hats can make him look like a cool galactic space emperor just with a different type of aesthetic, Widowmaker's skin feels like it's just a straight linear upgrade. Oh, we have the minimal version, then she gets a hat, then she gets wings, and then oh god, somebody set her on fire. It really undermines what I think was most appealing to most people when Mythic skins were first introduced as a concept way back at the launch of Overwatch 2, where it's a skin with cool effects Aspects that offers extensive customization so that individual players can pick and choose what they think looks best. And as we've seen them do a few times now at this point, the Widowmaker Mythic Skin is simply not that. Not to mention the fact that this is the second Mythic Skin in a row now that has lacked any built-in weapon customization, a change which I feel is very deliberate on Blizzard's part, given that they've now also introduced Mythic weapon skins as an additional type of cosmetic. I'm willing to bet that going forward, Mythic skins just aren't going to have weapon customization anymore. Why bother when you can just sell someone a Mythic weapon skin for another $80 that does all the cool fancy things that the Mythic weapon in the Mythic Skin originally used to do. Literally, they're just selling you the same skin for twice the price, in essence. Although, you can customize the weapon between different skins now, which is kind of cool, admittedly. But if even that wasn't an egregious push in the squeezing pennies from the player base direction, Blizzard also added Mythic Skin Aspects this season, a new color variant, essentially, of existing Mythic skins, which apply to every past Mythic skin. In essence, these are recolors for Mythic skins, which I don't inherently dislike, but I certainly dislike the direction Blizzard has taken with executing this. First and foremost, the egregious pricing of them. Each Mythic Skin aspect, being the gilded aspects that they've introduced this season, is 20 Mythic Prisms, which is 20 USD if you are to purchase the prisms directly, all for what comes down to just a new color variant. And also to reiterate, that's 20 prisms per Mythic skin. You don't pay 20 and then get the gilded aspect for all Mythics you have unlocked. No, you have to spend 20 per skin, and only after you've already maxed out that skin to its highest level, which means even if you happen to like some of the lower end customization on a Mythic you already have and just want that gold color scheme, well, nope, you gotta buy the entirety of the base Mythic up through its max level before you can then get that additional color scheme. Yeah, this is pretty egregious, I'll be honest. The only one I've bought so far is the one for Sigma, because A, Sigma is the only Mythic skin I actually regularly use, and B, I haven't maxed out and or even bought the past 4 Mythic skins at this point, so I already had a bunch of Mythic Prisms saved up from the past roughly year. And yeah, it looks cool. Gold Galactic Emperor Sigma is a cool look, and I'll probably be sporting it every now and again. But it's very clear to me what Blizzard is doing with all this. They're introducing more and more ways for players to whale effectively. And I kind of feel like I need to do a dedicated video talking about this, since I don't want to get too focused on just this one topic in a video that's supposed to be focused on Season 13 as a whole. Yeah, there's a lot of problems with how Blizzard has been handling Mythic skins. Perhaps I'll wait until the mid-season for Season 13, where we get the new Soldier 76 weapon Mythic skin, and we see how they sort of handle that before I do a dedicated video really focusing on this topic. But for now, yeah, underwhelming. The Widow Mythic skin, as a skin in a vacuum, looks great. Is it a good Mythic skin though? Absolutely not. But thankfully though, the cosmetic discussion doesn't end there, because we also, very shortly after the launch of the season itself, got this season's major collab, being the My Hero Academia collab. A collab which I personally have been very, very excited for since, frankly, before it was ever even confirmed to be a thing coming to the game. Not only am I personally a big fan of My Hero Academia, but over the past year, the series has bizarrely become relevant to my channel in a sense. If you're a regular of my live streams, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So needless to say, actually getting a My Hero Academia collab in Overwatch was a big deal for me and my channel. I had very high expectations for this, and was actually one of the reasons I put off this video as long as I did, because I wanted to actually get my hands on the skins in game and see what they're like before I did my proper breakdown of Season 13, and I gotta say, the collab's about as good as we could have expected it to be. The skins look amazing for the most part. There are a few caveats here and there. For example, Kiriko's toga skin, the face looks bizarrely just like Kiriko. Like, I don't know why they couldn't have made even slight adjustments to like the makeup or the eyeshadow or something to make her look remotely similar to Toga other than the outfit she's wearing. It would have been such a simple thing to do, and comparing it even to just the other legendary skin Kiriko got this season, they couldn't have taken like a quarter of the effort they put into the face and that skin and applied it to Toga. Ugh, just feels like a missed opportunity there. I don't know why they thought they had to make it look so plainly like Kiriko. But there are a few other little issues I have with some of these skins as well, like Reinhardt's All Might skin and not having the appropriate voice line for when he's using his Earth Shatter ultimate. Bizarrely enough, he does actually have the Detroit Smash and Texas Smash sound lines when using some of his emotes and highlight intros, but it's just not on his ultimate. Granted, there does seem to be some sort of weird bug going on where his ultimate voice line is muted for some people, so maybe it's supposed to be applying to his ult line and just is bugged at the moment. That seems like it's probably the case, though at the time of me recording this video, that has yet to be fixed, so I can't really say for sure. But even beyond just that example, I think it would have been nice if Blizzard had given more of these characters voice lines that actually fit the corresponding characters they're representing from the anime. All Might and Deku especially have just so many different voice lines they could have incorporated that Blizzard simply didn't, outside of, again, the aforementioned ones for Reinhardt, along with the little selectable voice lines that are part of the bundle. So all in all, I feel like the stuff we did get in this collab is great. There's a few things that I think could have been done better if they'd been done differently, but most of the shortcomings I see in it really come down to how minimal the collab is. I basically just want more voice lines, more characters represented, more emotes and highlight intros showing off different stuff from the series. So on that front, I can't really critique it too hard because it has absolutely left me wanting more while also enjoying what we did get. And if ever there was a collab Blizzard has done that just seems right out of the gate like it's begging for a follow-up wave of character skins, I do think it is My Hero Academia. We'll see, maybe a year from now or two they'll end up doing a second wave of this, adding any number of other characters from My Hero's extensive cast. But in short, all in all, a really good collab. Not perfect by any stretch, but a really good one, and probably tied with Transformers at the moment as my all-time favorite Overwatch collab. But moving on now from skins, since Lord, we've been talking about them long enough already, let's move on to some of the actual gameplay content of the season, first and foremost being map reworks. Now, personally, I wasn't too excited for the map reworks going into Season 13. It's a sort of aspect of Overwatch that I can't say I'm personally that interested in. Oh, you change some of the high ground so it's easier to get to a certain position, or you have more cover in this other location. I kind of find that aspect of the game uninteresting, more or less. Sure, it impacts the gameplay of it, and having good gameplay in a game makes it worth playing. But in terms of like nitpicking, like, ooh, new staircase, it really wasn't something that I was terribly fixated on leading up to the season launching. But I will say, after having played on all these maps now through various quick play matches, I actually find that I quite enjoy the changes. I don't know if it's just the fact that the maps feel fresh in a sense because they're, well, physically different than they used to be and thus feel like something semi-new, or if they really have improved the actual gameplay of these matches such that I'm genuinely enjoying them more. It's hard for me to personally say, but overall, I gotta say, I do actually quite like these map reworks. There was no new map added this season, which, to be fair, we got 2 new maps last season with the new Clash game mode, so I think it's fine on that front. But getting the reworks we did feel good, and I'm definitely excited to play on these more and see how people really grow accustomed to these changes as time goes on and we really get more time to strategize and figure out how to play the new terrain and paths and obstacles that have been introduced. So moving on from that, next let's discuss Junkenstein's Laboratory, a perhaps sleeper hit of a game mode, you could say, that was rather spontaneously introduced to the game, being a PvP mode that's utilizing the talents that had been previously designed for the now cut Overwatch 2 PvE. And while I had a bit of fun playing it, it by far wasn't my favorite mode. I've been seeing a lot of people have a ton of fun with this mode. And I get it. It's an interesting way to sort of add chaos to the mix of the typical gameplay loop of Overwatch, where now you have these different talents that pretty radically change how many heroes function with their different abilities, which I find to be actually kind of interesting because this isn't even a new concept. We've seen this multiple times just recently with modes like Mirror Watch, which introduced sort of alternate versions of the heroes that had tweaked abilities, as well as the April Fool's patch, which did a very similar thing. But something about being able to actually select the talents you go for on a given hero, with the talents being available to you kind of randomized every time you play through, even if you're only playing as one singular hero, definitely adds a fun element of being able to customize and sort of strategize your particular character to better fit either a playstyle you find enjoyable, or perhaps even one that just effectively counters the enemies you're up against. And what's more, I gotta say, I'm really impressed with the amount of polished detail in this mode, specifically when it comes to the UI for actually selecting the different talents between matches. This looks way better than it had any need to be, considering that this is just a temporary game mode that may very well disappear forever after the event. Not to mention the unique animations that many characters got and using the different talent abilities that change up how they function. There was a pretty incredible amount of detail put into this specific mode, which, granted, I'm willing to bet the majority of this is just leftover work and assets from when these were going to be part of the PvE. So these are probably just animations and UI elements that Blizzard already had, but just hadn't ever actually introduced to the game, that were able to be introduced in Junkenstein's laboratory because, well, it fit the whole talent system. So it is really cool to see this mode in action, and I think the reception to this mode has been pretty positive for the most part, even if I personally only got a bit of fun out of it, and I feel like it really just isn't my jam for the most part. A lot of people are having a real blast with this mode, and I certainly hope Blizzard takes that into account when going forward and developing either just other PvP limited time modes like this, or maybe if PvE ever does somehow make a comeback at some point later down the line. Imagine if they added a new Cosmic Crisis-esque PvE mode that incorporated talents like this. That could be a really fun way to explore and play around with that old hero mission idea that people were so heavily anticipating leading up to Overwatch 2. But getting now onto the final major thing worth talking about here with Season 13, we have the hero balance changes. Now, for those of you who know me, this portion is going to be pretty similar to the map reworks in that I'm not someone who terribly heavily focuses on balance from one season or patch to the next. Sometimes changes are noticeable, sometimes they're not, and I'm not the sort of person who cares too much one way or the other. But there were a few hero changes this season which did stick out pretty substantially, being Ramatra and Sombra. Let's start off with Ramatra, a hero I actually play. Going into this season and finding out that his punches while in Nemesis form are no longer going to pierce barriers was disappointing, but I was open to playing around with it as a change in direction for his character, given that they also added the 2.5 times more damage to barriers. This effectively, at least on paper, means that he would shift from becoming a barrier penetrator to a barrier breaker, who shatters the barrier instead of just simply punching through it, which I was open to seeing how it would feel, and now that I've actually played it, both as and against Ramatra, I'm sad to report that it unfortunately feels awful. Yeah, this feels so bad. Maybe his overall power level is still the same in terms of breaking a barrier as opposed to merely punching through it. Maybe there's an argument to be made there, although honestly, if you just kill the Reinhardt holding the barrier goes away anyways, so you don't really have to worry about breaking it. But never mind that side of things, simply playing as Ramatra against any character who has a barrier, be it Reinhardt, Winston, Sigma, Brigitte, other Ramatras, it just feels awful. It feels so bad to play him. I gotta say, I absolutely hate this change they've given him. It's like the one niche area where it felt like he was truly powerful and effective, being able to just go through the barrier with his Nemesis form and hit the target directly. It's gone. It's just gone now. It doesn't exist. And it feels so much worse than it did before. Honestly, Blizzard doesn't often revert changes that they end up pushing out for a given hero in a given season, but they do on occasion do so, which is why I am hoping to God that this is one of the instances where they decide to go back on this change, because I cannot overstate how bad this feels. It feels awful. I don't care about breaking the barrier faster, it just feels worse. And while I don't personally play Sombra at all, it does seem like the changes to her kit with her latest rework are pretty similar. I've heard from many people who do actually play the hero that she feels, well, unplayable now given these changes, which I've certainly seen reflected in the absence of Sombra players in my matches since the start of Season 13. For the first day or two, there were a ton being played, I imagine mainly people trying to try out the rework and see how it feels, but thankfully those numbers sharply declined in the days afterward, to the point where most matches probably don't even have a Sombra anymore. And I, for one, couldn't be happier. I'm sure many of you are aware of just how much I hate Sombra as a hero in Overwatch. My disdain for her has only ever grown as time goes on, such that I'm not in the least bit disappointed to see her player numbers drop with this latest rework. Is it unfortunate that people who do play the hero now get a trashy hero who can't actually do anything? Sure, but as someone who enjoys actually having fun in the game, I can't and won't complain about Sombra getting gutted. But on that note, that wraps up the major things to talk about here with Season 13. I guess it is also worth noting some of the mysterious in-game teasers that have emerged recently with this latest season and the trailer leading up to it, all pointing toward the next upcoming new tank hero, who will be officially releasing next season, Season 14. There's actually quite a bit to look at here when it comes to the individual Easter eggs and teasers and lore tidbits tying to this character, so I am working on a dedicated video that'll be a comprehensive breakdown of everything we actually know about this character so far and what we can discern about their lore, abilities, identity, etc. They will be releasing in the coming days, so I do hope you stay tuned for that. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching this video, and let me know your thoughts on Season 13 in the comments down below. Was there anything this season that particularly stuck out to you as exciting or fun, or maybe you were underwhelmed with the overall state of things? Either way, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below, and as always, be sure to subscribe, hit up that bell icon, follow me on X, and join my Discord server to hang out, and never miss out on any of my future Overwatch 2 news streams and other content, and special thanks to my YouTube channel members who help make these videos possible. If you would like to join them to earn some cool rewards, then just hit that join button down below. Otherwise, this is Master Ian Gamer signing off, and until next time, have a great day.